Welcome back everyone. In today's lecture, I'm going to teach you very important functions in Python. So let's begin. Here I have the first function, which is a range function. So if you want to select a range of numbers, like you want to select or print all the numbers between 10 and 20, so you can do that using range. So let's try that. For loop for I in range of 10, print I. Let's try that, and you get 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you get all the numbers in which is in the range of 10, but you will not get 10 because you'll always get the number one number less than this number. So if you want the number 10 also, just put 11, then you'll get 0 to 10. And you can even put starting points, like from which number you want to start. For I in range of 10 and 15, print I. You get all the numbers between 10 and 15. And you can even add steps like you do in the slicing. So steps means, suppose you want here to take 2 steps, that means it will print 0. It will take 2 steps, 1 step here, 2 step, and then it will print 2, and then it will take 2 steps, it will print 4, it will take 2 steps, it will print 6, it will take 2 steps, it will print 8, it will take 2 steps, and it will print 10. Like sometimes you climb 2 ladders at a time, so like that, and you skip 1 ladder. So you can do that. For I in range, first you will put the starting, I'll put it like 2, the ending 10, and then the step, which is 2 steps at a time, print I. See, it's printing 2, 4, 6, 8, not 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, because it's taking 2 steps at a time. And there is one more function, which is the list function. So you can even make a list using this range function. To do that, just my list 1 is equals to, and then here you use the list function to create a list, and then the range, and then suppose I want all the numbers between 5 and 15 to the step of 2. So let's print that, my list 1, and see, you got a list. So you made a list using the range function. Let's go to the next function, which is the enumerate function or enumerate function. Here sometimes you want to keep the track of how many numbers, how many times this for loop is running. So suppose I run this, and then see, you got 0a, 1b, and 2c, and abc is just the word here. Now sometimes you want to keep the track of how many times the for loop is running. So here what you do is just make an index count, print it, and increment it. So it will be 0. The for loop is running for the 0 time, for the first time, and for the second time. But this is very lengthy process, and to do this you can use the enumerate function. So for letter in enumerate, and then the variable word, print letter. Let's try that. See, you got 0a, 1b, 2c. So you didn't have to do all this, you can just do this. And as you can see that you got these in tuples. So for tuples you can use tuple unpacking, and I have taught you this. And if you don't know that, click on the video on the I button. So just a comma b, and here you can just write a comma b. So there you go. And then there is a zip function. If you want to add 2 or more lists according to the index. For example, you have list number 1, which contains 1, 2, 3, and list number 2, which contains ABC, and you want to group all the index together. Suppose you want to group this of index and this together, you want to group this and this together, you want to group this and this together. It's like this. So you can do that using the zip function. So let's try that. For a letter in zip, and first of all I have to create the list. My list 1 is equals to 1 2 3. For example, my list 2 is equals to ABC, and then for letter in zip of my list 1 and my list 2, that means it will join these two, my list 1 and my list 2, and then you can print the letter. See, you got 1A, 2B, 3C. Why you got that? Because it is grouping, it is making tuples and it is grouping this list by their index. So first index will go with this first index, the second index of this list will go with this second index, and the third one will go with the third. And as it's a tuple, you can just unpack it. So A comma B, A comma B, and here A represents the list 1, B represents the list 2. See, you got. Now for some reason you want only the second list, just do B, and then you'll get only the second list. So there you go. And then if there are extra items in a list, like this contains 3 items and this also contains 3 items, so it will group them together. But you have extra items here like 4 and 5, then what it will do is it will just ignore it, because here you have 3 items, here you have 5 items, so it is not possible to group them. But here also suppose I have 5 items, then it will show the other items also. And then you can even put them in a list by using the list function. So you do it like this. My new list is equals to list, and then zip of my list 1 and my list 2. And let's print this. Print my new list. There you go. You got your list here. And then after that you have the in. So this is a keyword. So you can check that if the list contains an item. To check that, what you can do is you can just use like y in XYZ. So you can check for an item in a list. So you can check that whether y is there in this list. Let's try that. Yes, true, because it is there. And you can check that if a letter or a word is there in a string. Suppose you want to check is there is a E in the string Ronak. So there is a letter E in my name. No, it is not. So it is false. And then you can also check for dictionaries. So you can check for the keys, that whether this dictionary has this key. Let me add more keys. Key 2 is equals to V2. And then check for keys, just you do suppose I want to check if there is a key 2 in D. See, true, because there is a key 2 in this dictionary. Just print it here. There you go. And then you can check for values. To check for values, I told that there is a function which is dictionary dot values to get all the values from the dictionary. Suppose you want to check if the dictionary contains V2 or V1. So V1 in D dot values. Why D dot values? Because D dot values returns all the values of the dictionary. So it will only return the value. Let's try this. True, because there is a V1 in the values of the dictionary. And then the min function. If you want to check the smallest value in a list, use min. So my list 1 is equals to, or just my list is equals to this number here. And then you want to check the smallest value in this list. What you can do is just print min my list. See, you got 12. And the same is for max. Print max and then my list. See, you got 53. And then there is shuffle. If you want to shuffle a list, for example, I have my list here equals to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and you want to shuffle this. You want to shuffle the order of the list. So you can do with the shuffle method. So for this you need to import the shuffle method like this. Import random, from random. Random is a library name. Import the shuffle function. So you have to tell Python that, hey, I want to use a shuffle function, so import it from the random library. The random is the name of the library. And then shuffle will shuffle list. So shuffle my list, and then let's print that my list. Print my list. See, you got a shuffle list. Now after that there is rand int, which means if you want to generate a random integer between two integers. So for this you want to import that randint from the random library. So from random import randint, and then generate a random integer from 0 to 10. Suppose you want to do this, so just print randint 0, 10. That means generate a random integer between 0 and 10. So you got 0, and if you run it again you'll get a different integer. See, you got 4, and then you got 10, you got 3, you got 10, you got 8. So it will just generate a random integer. And then input function. This is very common function. So just to take the input from the user, and I guess you know how to do that. A is equals to, or I'll just do name is equals to input. Enter your name. So the input will always be in a string. Print name. See, enter your name Ronak. You got Ronak. So always this input will be in a string. So even if you enter 10, then it will be a string, not a integer. So you want to perform calculations with the number entered, then you have to convert it into integer by using the int function. So like this. So num1 is equals to int input and then enter the first number. And then num2 is equals to int input, and then here enter the second number. So why we are converting it into int is because this returns a string, so you can't perform operations on string. So I want to print num1 plus num2. See, 10 and 20, so you got 30. Now you can even convert it into float like I did here. So just copy here and paste it, and then float, enter the first float, and then here also I'll just put float. And then let's try that. Enter the first float, suppose 2.5 and 5.3. See, you got 7.8. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, then don't forget to like, share, subscribe and comment. And I'll meet you in the next video. Till then, take care and bye bye.